Hello there, everybody. I'm Sharon Redinger with Babylon Micro-Farms, and I am delighted to introduce you to Chef Rob Stack. Chef Rob, I will turn it over to you just to introduce yourself to the audience today.
Yep. I'm Chef Robert Stack. I've been working for Compass Group for 5 years now at their Lancaster General Hospital location. And it's been a pleasure to have the farm that we've been working with for about a year now, I believe. And it's, produced some wonderful vegetation.
Love it. Well, and on a personal note, I did get to spend time with Chef and his team there a couple weeks ago, and oh my gosh, your cafe, I know you guys did a stunning renovation, but it is absolutely gorgeous. And I know we have some pictures that we'll get to see in just a little bit.
Yep. So that was a very, something we take a lot of pride in is working with the hospital and, really introducing not only the retail space, but also, the food we can produce for our patients to get them out of here as quickly as possible.
Perfect. Well, if it's okay with you, Chef, I'm going to dive in and get started. I know our audience is excited to learn a little bit more about your personal experiences with Babylon. So I'll just kind of dive in.
Yep.
So tell me, so why is it important to use fresh local ingredients in healthcare meals?
I mean, healthcare meals specifically, it's the more you know, put something through procedures and vegetation and, just grind it down, the less nutrients you use that are available to it. So we like to use a lot of fresh vegetables from local farms, and being that Lancaster is, very much a farm community, it's nice to see that the patients, they're farmers or neighbors and that, hey, this came from John's farm down the street. I'm like, oh, I love that farm stand, and really build the relationship to the community that way and really showcase what the community has to offer.
That's fantastic. I know, obviously on the screen right here, you see some of your stunning menu items. So what are some of your favorite meals to, feature their Babylon produce in?
I mean, we've done, we've featured arugula in our burgers and, definitely the edible flowers in our pasta, which we've house made and run as a concept here. Some of the staples are definitely the micro basil, which we love growing and using in our caprese pizza on our station, which we make, fresh to order and stretch to order, which is, something we take great pride in. And to garnish it and add flavor from literally across the hall when you just break fresh basil daily is, something I never thought would be possible in this type of setting.
Yes. Well, thank you for sharing that. Well, I know, you kind of manage the farm, you're overseeing it, kind of implementing it in the culinary experiences. So which of the crops are your favorite ones to grow?
I love the edible flowers for sure. Definitely one of my top five choices. Seeing them, they take a little while to bloom, but seeing them bloom and then they're definitely a talking point when I'm taking care of the farm. And, we have guests coming through and asking about the flowers. We're like, hey, those are beautiful. What do you do? I'm like, here, try them. They taste great. And then, again, it's just, the herbs that grow in the case, like thyme, chives. We love using those in our pastas and on our pizzas, on our burgers, things like that.
Well, I love that. Well, when I had got to come up for the event, you guys, the picture on the top right was from that event, and you had the edible flowers on the top row. I think it's definitely a gorgeous focal point. And so, what is the feedback you get from, the doctors, patients when they walk up and see this stunning indoor greenhouse?
Yeah, the first is like, what do you do with it, right? Like, you have fresh flowers, growing lettuce in the middle of a hospital. It's what do you guys do with it? It's like, here, you're eating it. We add it, we harvest it using our salad bar for fresh greens, and they're just taken back by how available it is and literally how fresh it is from
That's
the time we
amazing.
started.
Yeah, and so for your client there, I understand in working with the healthcare space. I mean, was that a hot button for your client in regards to the importance of, food as medicine and farm to table? Were those important to the team there?
Absolutely, it's Lancaster is very much a heart of the farm country here in Pennsylvania and central Pennsylvania, and just seeing how local we can get isn't a challenge for us, but there's definitely, if we can have something grown in house and readily available, that's definitely a plus for the client.
Thank you for answering that. So I guess one kind of segue from there. So with your experience, how can fresh local food help encourage healthier eating habits? Or have you heard that from the doctors and nurses and team there?
Yeah, I mean, definitely availability, I think, is something that when people, embark on their health journeys is something that's can be overwhelming and at times, and people don't know what lane or avenue to travel down. With all the information that's out there via social media, whatever diet book you want to read. I think just to make it easy as possible, like, hey, you can just have this right in front of you, and you don't have to put it on a macro calorie counting scale or anything like that, and just have it right. Take it 3 feet away from you is something definitely a talking point.
Love that. Well, and then, food is medicine. What does that mean to you? And, how does that apply in the healthcare setting and with this partnership?
Yeah, I mean, with traditional medicines, there's a lot of side effects and things that are unwanted for treatment causes. But when we can navigate someone to you know choose their medicine or help their symptoms through whole foods, it's definitely easier, and you definitely see less side effects that way. And that's a conversation I've had with a lot of doctors here. And one way to really control somebody's eating habits and overall health.
That's fantastic. So, I mean, have the doctors shared if, fresh, nutrient dense food can help really improve patient care and recovery? Is that something that they've shared?
It's a conversation and something they've shared, with some of the relationships I've made in the hospital.
Sure.
Like, for example, using farro in our risotto instead of rice or burger rice, a heavy starch like that can really help regulate a diabetic's blood sugar, and so it doesn't spike, and it gives them side effects that way. It's definitely something we like to control and something we use in our menu.
So tell me, so I'm going to be a little bit nosy here. So what have you enjoyed most about engaging and working with the farm or the culinary side?
Um, Definitely how easy it is. Yeah, I'm not a gardenist per se. Yeah, I'm not outside in the dirt on my hands and feet. I mean, I would love to, but I don't have a lot of knowledge. But just the plug and play aspect of it, where we have a conversation. You send me the seeds I would like to see grow in the case, and just putting them in, planting them in, and just watching them flourish is definitely fun.
Well, I love that. It's always nice to hear ease of use from, the app, and you literally pop those in there, scan the QR code, and hopefully the technology makes it easier for you. So I love to hear on that side. But I'd love your opinion too. So what do you see as the future of sustainable food and healthcare? Because to me, you're definitely a thought leader and pioneer, with this partnership. So where do you see kind of the future of sustainable food?
I mean, it's, with healthcare specifically, it's the information that's growing and becoming more available. And then to touch on, what aspect it has in food services, just, we have 500 beds in the hospital. That's a lot of food we go through. So as to keep it as local and sustainable as possible, definitely helps cut down on food waste and therefore cutting down on, food costs in general, and, making sure we are able to repurpose the fruit. So if it's coming closer, it has a longer shelf life. So we have longer time to use it.
I know with Compass Group, you guys have some amazing sustainability initiatives. So how does this, align and check some of those boxes?
Yeah, I mean, one of the key Compass's core values is, being sustainable and, being local. If not even, it can stem everywhere from giving back monetarily to the local community to reducing our emissions footprint because the food doesn't have to travel from across the country to us or from a different country.
Wonderful. Well, I'm going to open it up. I know we've had a couple questions trickle in. So Chris, I'll let you kind of turn over to some of those questions.
Absolutely. The first question is going to be, you said the farm was easy to use. They just wanted to know how does that work?
So I received a package from Babylon Farms with either micro herb seeds, which we are planted on a grow medium, or little pods, which are planted in the upper cases. And then, they have a little QR code that's very helpful. I scan the QR code through the app, gives me the instructions on how to plant them. And then from there, it just sends me push notifications of, hey, this crop's ready to harvest. Hey, this crop's ready to move into a different zone. And, just being everything's done for you. All the thinking's done for you, and then all you gotta do is harvest, cut it out, and use it. It's very straightforward. It's awesome.
Thanks for that. I know Sharon's going to get into a little bit of that here in a minute, too, about some more of the intricate details. But another question from someone, they said they love the idea. They want one for their, healthcare system. How did you bring it to market, or how did you bring it into the hospitals? What they're asking, basically.
This is our second grow case. We had the first one wasn't as user friendly. Babylon Farms was super accommodating for our resources. They came in, took water samples, gave us the suggested technology and the filters we needed to use for our water system here. And the client was very understanding and being like, hey, this is something we want to showcase, is how local can we get? And you can't get more local than inside your own facility.
So what you're saying is that it was driven by the client.
Yes.
The last question here, honestly, I think could answered by Sharon in her section, because they're asking a little bit about installation and some other stuff. So I think we'll just let her answer that when she gets into hers. Does anybody else have any other questions? We'll leave it here for just a second. And I think that's everybody.
Perfect. Well, Chef Robert, thank you so much for being on the call today. You're welcome to stay on or pop off. I know you're a busy gentleman, and 300 beds is a lot. And I've seen your stunning venue and the volume. And I have to say kudos to the culinary, because I got to experience a lot of your different culinary offerings while I was there. Amazing. I left very full and very happy. So thank you.
Good to hear that. Thank you for having me. Sure.
Well, my pleasure. Well, now I'm just going to kind of dive in. So, I'm thrilled that you all are able to join today, and I'm delighted to share a little bit more about Babylon with you. So, we've deployed over 350 units across the world. We partnered with amazing organizations like Chef Robert and Lancaster General. We've also partnered with the U.S. Olympic team, and I'll get more into that case use as we get further along. We've partnered with Neiman Marcus, LinkedIn's corporate offices. It's been an amazing journey, but our goal here is, how do we really bring your patients, team members, people closer to their food? And so the way that we're able to accomplish that is, so we've developed these stunning indoor hydroponic farms. And as Chef mentioned, we take the guesswork out of growing. So we control the environment. We turn the fleet of farms on. They get pampered with a perfect cocktail of nutrients, pH, water. The magic behind the curtain, as Chef Rob mentioned, is our guided growing app. So we have an expansive menu that your team gets to select from, which you'll see in just a little bit. From there, we kind of take the guesswork out of growing. And so, like I said, very ease of use. Each one of our teams is very different. And you can see in this video right here, this kind of provides a beautiful imagery and introduction into Babylon. So you can see our farm right here, just gorgeous focal point. Keep in mind, food safety is one of our top priorities. I know in the healthcare and senior living spaces, those were really critical and important to our clients. So the units do have turnkey style locks, gorgeous focal points, glass enclosure. There's the QR code that Chef just mentioned in regards to kind of ease of use, telling you, scanning that QR code, the app takes over, telling your team when to, transplant, harvest, doing some light cleaning, completely taking the guesswork out of the equation. One thing that's really neat on the sustainability side is, that's very important to a lot of our clients. The little pods that you see at the bottom, that was what Robert had mentioned before. We send you, whatever variety of seed pods you want. That grow media is particularly for lettuce, herbs, edible flowers. And so it's compostable polymer. So we're the only company in the United States who uses that. Beauty of Babylon too is each team is so different. So whether it's healthcare, senior living, workplace experience, education, every team has a dedicated Babylon account manager, and that's to do quite a few things. Training for your folks on the app, getting you all on a growing cadence that's impactful for your healthcare team or for your property, but just to really ensure the success and ease of use. Now, as I mentioned, support is really critical for Babylon. So with our program, it is an all-inclusive experience. So our clients, purchase the equipment. From there, with our subscription service, that literally covers everything to successfully manage the farm. So from our remote monitoring, your unlimited seed pods of whatever you'd like to grow, the guided growing app, having that dedicated individual with Babylon to hold your hand, provide training if there's new employees, or even if you have, for senior living, for example, we have some communities where the residents want to get their hands into the farm, or they have a culinary committee or a gardening committee. That's where they can kind of get more into, you know, their hands into the farm as well. And I'll kind of dive into some really fun case uses. So what you see right here, this is Waterman Village down in Florida. So we were in two of their community, or in their community in two different locations. Their culinary committee, very vocal. So they, you know, actually surveyed the residents to figure out what they want to grow within the farm. As you can see in the middle picture right here, feeding your best life. That's kind of their mission on the culinary side at that senior living community. So it really speaks to food as medicine, engagement, kind of checking all of those boxes. But you really can't get any more farm to table than pulling it directly out of the farm. Now, one thing that's really amazing about this too, horticulture therapy has become more and more prevalent across the board. A lot of our properties have rooftop gardens, they have raised beds, they have greenhouses. I have some hospitals where they have a massive garden that's for patient therapy. So keep in mind, these are beautiful indoor gardens where you can do those experiences. We have a lot of organizations just like Chef Roberts, where Lancaster General is very philanthropic. So we have a lot of clients who want to give back to the community. So when it's time to take those herbs or edible flowers out of their farms, giving those to local food pantries, giving them back to the patients to take home to continue their wellness journey. So keep in mind, there's so much opportunities on the engagement side to engage with your patients. If it's senior living, engage with your residents. A lot of our clients are also considering doing culinary classes. Some are already doing that as well, but these are great vehicles to do that. As Chef mentioned, high quality ingredients. You know, they're at Lancaster General, they do a ton of local sourcing, partnering with local farms. These are beautiful vehicles to tell that story to your patients, to the doctors, the nursing staff there. It is very wellness focused. It also definitely provides opportunities for engagement, but I know Compass Group in particular, they have some big boxes that they're trying to check off when it comes to responsible and ethical sourcing. And we're really able to help elevate and support those initiatives. Farming is an amenity for some of our clients, and a little bit different segment, but in workplace experience, we partnered with Dominion Energy, LinkedIn's corporate offices. We have clients where they're literally giving the produce to employees to take home as amenity. It's actually one of the perks of the job here at Babylon, but it's a great way to kind of promote, you know, health, wellness, and kind of employee engagement. We have clients where they're using this as kind of team building opportunities as well. Because keep in mind, with your account manager, let's say you do have a sustainability group at your, you know, healthcare facility or your senior living community, and they want to get their hands into the farm. You can always, we can start with 2 POCs, and let's say that group says, hey, we want to get our hands into the farm. That's where you have that account manager to give them access to the app, help train them. And we've had success with student interns where dietitians, nutritionists, you know, they want to help manage the farm. It's fun. We try to make it engaging. They get some swag, certifications, all kinds of things for engagement. Now, this is one of my really neat clients, not as neat as Chef Robert, but the bar is pretty high. So this is the U.S. Olympic team. So they started with one of our micro farms. Their athletes and dietitians love the product and program so much, they ordered two more, excuse me. So, I mean, it really aligned with a lot of the different goals they had around setting the bar really high. I mean, these athletes have very specific dietary regimens, but this also really helped them make a positive impact because they had goals for their training facility in regards to reducing food waste and making a positive environment for, or making the planet a better place. That was part of their goals too. But it's really providing those high quality greens to those athletes. So amazing partnership on that side. But beauty of this, as Chef mentioned, there's literally no seasonality whatsoever within your micro farm. So we have about 50 different varieties for you to select from. Essentially, your menu lives within your app. We make it very easy for you to reach out to your account manager, change whatever variety of produce you want to grow. But part of the onboarding process too is getting you all on a growing cadence that's going to be impactful for your property or venue. Figuring out, you know, do we have goals around self-sufficiency? We have clients like JW Marriott where they're using this as part of their JW cocktail program. So literally every single cocktail infused water is garnished from their Babylon Micro-Farm. And I know one thing that Chef mentioned that was really important was, you know, the health value. So keep in mind with our farms, there's no herbicides, there's no pesticides. The nutritional value, we've had our produce lab tested. it's higher than what you would get from a traditional supply chain because there's no transportation, there's no loss of dehydration. So if those are important to your team and to your patients and staff, we can help check a lot of those boxes. And this is what I was referring to in regards to the produce and just the nutritional value. Food as medicine is a hot button for all of our clients in every single segment, from healthcare, senior living, workplace experience, education. I think that's important to everybody across the board. Now, as your wheels are turning for your locations about installation of our farms, I know that was one of the questions. There's a handful of things that our technicians need in order to install the equipment. So since we are dosing the water and nutrients and pH, we do need a 1/4-inch flexible cold water line, excuse me, and then a wall outlet, standard wall outlet 120. And then ideally, we would like to have an Ethernet connection. We can do cellular if need be. And then part of the food safety protocols is a deep clean every 2 to 3 months. So this bottom drawer, that's where the mechanics are located, that pulls out. There's a quick connect for a hose. So we just need an avenue to drain the farms within 50 feet. We actually pour ours on raised beds right outside, or sink any type of avenue for draining. As Chef Robert mentioned, some of our clients do have harder water. So part of the onboarding process too is we want to ensure your farm's going to be flourishing, green, and very successful on property. So we do a water test as part of the onboarding process. So depending on location, some may need an RO filter. But as your wheels are turning, if you have locations in mind, we can always do a virtual site visit to kind of figure out where would be the best location, because these are definitely designed for front of house applications. As you saw with Chef Roberts, it's literally first thing that you see, gorgeous focal point, very eye-catching. A lot of our clients have this in lobbies, cafes, grab and go areas. So, as your wheels are turning, let me know. I'm delighted to answer any other questions that the team might have today. Thank you. Well, thank you all so much. And Chef Robert, it was wonderful to see you virtually.
Thank you. Nice seeing you again, Sharon.
Well, thank you all again for taking the time today. And we'll be sure to send out the recording to everyone who attended. Thanks again.